We have been on audio.
Okay, yeah.
As soon as
Okay,
it
so
starts, the audio starts.
is it all set?
No.
Not yet? Okay.
All right, you're ready to go.
Thank you very much, and welcome to the Committee on State and Local Government. My name is Ann Matlack. I am the House Chair of this committee. We have a quorum today. Senator Rosen, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 House members and Senator Rosen. So if we could go around and introduce ourselves, we'll get going with our public hearing on a couple of bills. I'll go by way of the blocks that I see in front of me, if you don't mind. Representative Dorr first, please.
Good morning. I am Representative Donna Dorr, and I represent a portion of Augusta.
Good morning. Representative Downs.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Kathy Downs. I represent District 130, which is Bucksport and Orrington. Thank you.
Welcome. Representative Reisman.
Good morning. I'm Representative Reisman. I represent District 69, which is Bridgeton, Harrison, and Denmark.
Good morning. Representative Bryant.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Mark Bryan. I represent House District 24, part of the town of Wyndham.
Representative Greenwood.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Randy Greenwood. I represent House District 82, which is the towns of Litchfield, Monmouth, and my hometown of Wales in both Androscoggin and Kennebec counties.
Representative Copeland.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Lynn Copeland, and I'm honored to represent House District 14, which is downtown and coastal Saco. Thank you.
And Senator Rosen, welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Kimberly Rosen, Senate District 8. My towns are Bradley, the city of Brewer, Bucksport, where I live, Burlington, Castine, Clifton, Dedham, Eddington, Great Pond, Holden, Lincoln, Lowell, Orland, Orrington, Penobscot, and Verona Island.
Wonderful. And we also have with us today Lynn Caswell, who is our legal analyst, and Cheryl McGowan, who is our committee clerk. We have 2 bills today this morning for public hearing. But before we get there, I wanted to welcome everybody and read the script that we have so that we can make sure that I cover all the bases. The committee is assembled electronically today for the purposes of inviting public comment on legislation. Before we get started, I wanted to share some information related to the fact that this meeting is being conducted using an electronic format. The meeting is currently being live streamed on the committee's YouTube channel. This means that anyone who is a participant in the meeting via Zoom can be seen and also heard if their microphone is unmuted. People on the Zoom meeting waiting to testify cannot be seen or heard until they are called upon to speak. This meeting will be recorded and available to view on the committee's YouTube channel soon after this meeting has concluded. If the name on your Zoom square is not the name you used to register to testify, it may be a bit of a challenge for us to identify you. For example, if you registered as John Smith or Mary Jones and your Zoom screen says iPhone 6 or Dad's laptop, it may take an extra effort to get you to our virtual podium. Please be patient. You should know that it may momentarily appear as though you've been dropped from the meeting when we call you to speak. It takes a second or two, but rest assured you will reappear and you will then be able to provide your testimony. This format is new to all of us, and we expect that there will be some unforeseen glitches and mistakes. Please be patient. We are doing our best, and we will all learn as we go along and hopefully improve along the way. A reminder to members of the committee about the use of the Zoom chat function. All questions should be posed through the chair, and we will bring up people to talk with us for the 2 bills that we have here this morning. Hopefully we have presenters available. We're starting a little bit later, which is actually a good thing this morning because I believe both sponsors had other places to be first thing at 10 o'clock. So do we know if we have either Representative Toole or Representative Sylvester available? Not yet? Okay.
Yeah, I don't see them in the attendee room.
Okay, thank you. I know that both of them had to be other places. I believe Representative Sylvester chairs another committee, and he, like me, was the only chair available. So he will be over as soon as he can. And Rep Toole was also in another committee presenting another bill. I believe is what was going on. So I guess we can be at ease, as they say, until we get one or the other of the sponsors to come and speak with us. Oh, Lynn, you mentioned that you had something for us that we could talk about this morning before we move into public hearings.
I was going to share the calendar for the next few weeks. I know I just sent it to you, but I thought since we had time,
Certainly.
I won't spend too long. But I'm going to screen share. So as you know, next Monday, we have quite a few public hearings on the emergency power bills. We have one that I'm still waiting for the presiding officers to approve that we add with less than a 2-week notice. And then, of course, there's no meeting on Wednesday because you will be spending Tuesday doing the work of the House and the Senate. The following week, on the Monday, you're having a public hearing on all the constitutional officer bills. So there's quite a few bills about the Secretary of State, the Treasurer, the Attorney General, all the constitutional officers. So those are all being heard on one day. And then on Wednesday, you have confirmation hearings and a series more of public hearings. And you'll see that quite, as Representative Matlack said, quite a few have been referred to this committee. And we're scheduling them as fast as we can. So I will send this out to you later today so you have it, but just a couple weeks ahead of what we're doing.
Right, and you'll notice that she mentioned that the yellow highlights are what we will be advertising on Wednesday. So those are I wouldn't say tentative because those are the ones we would like to hear, but moving out till the 12th and the 14th, those are meetings, public hearings that we will be scheduling along with some work sessions. And then we'll have a lot of work sessions coming at us after the 29th and the 5th. But we hope to move through them. I think we do have a number of bills coming through, but once we get through the 29th and the 5th, the number will diminish rapidly. And I think what we have coming up is manageable. So we won't be overwhelmed at this present time. I don't see us going to another day, but if need be, towards the end, we might have to. Representative Copeland?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm looking at Lynn's calendar, and I thought we were assembling in Augusta on Tuesday and Wednesday.
At present, this was the calendar that Lynn put together last night. If there's been a change as to a confirmed meeting on Wednesday, there's no SLG meeting on Wednesday next week. So no confirmed meeting for SLG, state and local government, next Wednesday. So I don't believe any other committees are meeting that day either, just as a day to recover from Tuesday. And then we'll move on to our other work.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do we have any other questions or comments about Lynn's calendar for right now? Okay, thank you. I guess we can, we're on hold until we can find a sponsor because we're not allowed to move forward. Are we allowed to move forward with the work session or no, Lynn?
No, I believe it was published for 10:30, which
Okay.
I'm not sure why, because usually I do it at 10:01, but
Okay, well, we're almost there. So
Well,
yes, ma'am.
just an FYI, I have a few, where is it? A few representatives and senators that need to talk or send an email to Casey Milligan, Senator Claxton, Representative Copeland, Downs, and Reisman, and Head about LD 113 okaying that they okayed their vote so that we can get that closed out. It was a divided vote, so we need to,
Right.
she needs to hear from you ASAP.
Thank you.
did send an email to you.
Thought I sent that yesterday, but I'll do it again.
She may, yeah, if you would just do it again,
Yeah.
and I sent you an email so that you can just forward it to her if you want to.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
My recollection is I was sent something by Senator Baldacci that I needed to do that. So I responded by saying I agree to Senator Baldacci. So you're saying I need to send it to somebody.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
needs to
you
go to
can
Casey
send-
Milligan.
Yeah, Casey Milligan,
Okay.
and I just sent you another one, Representative Reisman. And all you have, and she's in the CC line.
Okay.
Perfect, I got yours, Representative Copel. Good job.
I'm here. I'm just gonna turn my camera off because I'm getting an oil delivery and my dog is physically shaking. So I'm gonna go to her for a minute.
Cheryl, I sent that to Casey Milligan and also copy to you. So it should be all set on that LD 113.
Yep, you're all set, Representative Reisman. And Representative Downs is all set now. Perfect, thank you. You've made a young lady very, very happy. Welcome, Representative Paulus.
Hello. Sorry I'm late.
Good morning, Sean. That's fine. We're actually waiting for a presenter to come. Both of them are stuck someplace else.
Gotcha.
So once we get going, we're just on pause right now. And once we get going, I'll have you introduce yourself before we
Okay.
start the public hearing.
Sounds
So we
good.
can start at 10:30 with the work session, correct?
Yes, we can. We've got 4 more minutes. Okay. I see by my cell phone, it is now 10:30. Shall we work on a work session? This will be short. This will be a short one also. And then we can wait a little bit longer for either Rep Sylvester or Rep Tool. Lynn, is it okay if I just call the work session to order? Okay, I'm going to call the work session to order, and I'd like Representative Paulus to introduce himself, with the rest of us having already been introduced.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Sean Paulus. I represent House District 52, which is all of the city of Bath.
Welcome. This morning we have one work session, LD 379, an act to establish the Maine State Cemetery Commission. As folks will recall, Representative Greenwood was going to be working on this, and he's back here to report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. One of our,
I'm sorry, Lynn, am I out of order?
I just wanted to point out that the last action of the committee was a motion to table. So to open a work session, you would want to move it from the table.
My apologies, you're right.
Madam
May I
Chair?
have- Yes, yes,
I
sir.
would like to remove LD 379 from the table.
Thank you.
Thank-
Second? Yes. We have a second. All in favor? I think just all in favor of removing it from, I believe we are unanimous here. I see lots of hands. Is that okay, Lynn? And Cheryl saw all of our hands? Okay. Then if you'd like to proceed, Representative Greenwood.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had worked with Helen Shaw, and we had really tried to find a sponsor or a home for this. We had hoped we would have been able to. I spoke with the state archivist yesterday, Ms. McBrien. She reported that she talked to Secretary of State Bellows, and the possible fit that we hoped for in the Secretary of State's office is not going to fit within existing resources. So their thought was, unless a position was created within state government, they couldn't absorb that. So in fear that this commission doesn't have a home yet, my thought was that we could carry this over, but in discussing with our analyst, the process would be to table this, and then at the end, near the end of session, when we have a list of carryover bills, potential carryover bills to request the presiding officers to carry over to the second year of the session, that would occur then. But I wish I had something better to report, unless anybody else has anything that they've worked on.
Oops, my apologies. That my phone's ringing in my background. I had muted myself. Representative Paulus?
Hey, Madam Chair. Representative Greenwood, so the Secretary of State's office said that unless a position went along with the commission, they wouldn't be able currently to do that. Is that my understanding?
Yeah, thank you, Representative Paulus, for the question. Kate McBrien indicated there was nobody within her office that could handle that, and it didn't fit within their job duties. Her thought was, and she had discussed with Secretary of State Bellows, that if there was some sort of a genealogy position created within the Department of Secretary of State, she doesn't see how it would fit within anything they currently do. It's not part of anybody's job responsibilities as of now.
Okay.
Okay. Representative Dorr?
Thank you, Representative Matlock. I'm not going to disagree with the folks at the State Archives, but having worked there for many years, that is where so many groups come in together to work on their genealogy, whether it's, an established group or just someone looking up their roots. So I'm just wondering, I did hear Representative Greenwood, note that he was probably going to table this for next session or the end of this session, which I think is a good idea, but I'd really like to think that someone that does genealogy for pretty much a living, because some people pay to have their genealogy or their roots traced, that some group in Maine couldn't put together some kind of advisory board or something that would do this. So I just wanted to add that comment.
Lynn, you had a comment?
Just wanted to let the committee know that the state archivist, Kate McBrien, is in the attendee room, as is David Richmond, who was the Bureau of Veterans Affairs and Helen Shaw. So just if you have questions, they are available.
Okay. Did folks have questions, or are we just content to table this bill and then take it up again in January? Representative Copeland?
Thank you, Madam Chair. What exactly do we need them to do? Is it a space that we're looking for?
It's not a
or is it
physical
like-
space. Excuse me. It's not a physical space. It's a leadership position, as it were. It's a home for where the commission would live. In order to ensure that it's an ongoing entity, you would need to find a place for it to reside within state government or within one of the other agencies. And we have been unable to find one just yet. Representative Bryant?
Well, if I may follow up.
Okay, Representative Copeland?
So what would the time commitment be for any organization, any department within the state to handle this? So I just don't understand, what the big, is there reporting, or what is the connection there with time?
It's staff time. It's staff time. It's a person within an agency who would also have to do this on top of the other job they already have. Our state government is fairly lean. Pardon me?
To do what? What would they be doing?
We need to have a home for this. We need to have a staff person that in some agency that will take on the responsibility of overseeing the commission, whether it's creating agendas, posting meetings, hosting meetings. It is an undertaking, and it does, in order to do it well, it would require somebody or especially an agency to oversee it long-term so that it doesn't fall between the cracks someplace and we lose the data and we lose the information. So Representative Bryant, did you have a question?
Well, procedurally, I'm afraid if we're going to continue to debate on table and motions, we're going to get in trouble. So we need to do precedents.
Okay. I didn't want to debate it. I just wanted to let you know that this was occurring. So I'm Representative Greenwood, are you ready, or would you like to hear from the other folks?
Yeah, no, before I made the motion, because I knew it wasn't debatable, I wanted to know if there was any other discussion from anybody on the commission, on the committee that needs further information or clarification.
Right. Donna?
Thank you. I just had another thought. I'm wondering, and probably the state archivist will cringe when I say this, but I don't mean for her to do that. I'm just wondering if, I know that they're getting, they have a board. I can't remember now if it's the Maine State Archives Board or whatever it is, because I'm in chemo brain here, but I know they have a board that used to meet every so often, so many times a year. And I'm wondering if maybe this is something when that board gets back together that they might be able to, give us some direction. So I'm thinking if we could table it maybe to the second part of this legislative session, or maybe even beyond that if necessary. Just a thought.
Would you like to make that motion?
So moved.
So moved. Do I have a second for a tabling motion?
Second.
All those in favor, I'll get I'll get Cheryl to, it's not debate. I'll get Cheryl to call the roll on this one.
Yes.
All those in favor of the tabling motion, please raise hands.
Okay. All
All those opposed to the tabling motion, please raise hands. Representative Reisman? Okay. So this bill will be tabled and we will discuss it at another time. Thank you. And I see from the note that Representative Sylvester is here. So we'll move over to a public hearing now on, let me see, on LD, LD 442. If we could bring Representative Sylvester across. Good morning, Representative.
Good morning. I have multiple devices going on here as I'm in a couple different committees at the same time. So I appreciate this all working out and you waiting for me.
Oh, thank you. Sir, you have a bill before us. If you would like to introduce your bill, we'd love to hear about it.
Thank you so much. Chair Baldacci and Chair Matlack, esteemed colleagues of the Committee on State and Local Government. My name is Representative Mike Sylvester, and I represent District 39, which covers the Eastern Peninsula portion of Portland and the Fighting Islands of Casco Bay. I'm here today to present LD 442, resolution proposing an amendment to the Constitution of Maine to create the office of the Lieutenant Governor. Now, the first question that I always ask myself when proposing legislation is, how new is this idea that I'm proposing? Am I breaking new ground? Or am I proposing a solution that other states have found useful? In the case of LD 442, it is a solution that most states have found useful. The Lieutenant Governor is an official state office in 45 out of 50 of the United States. 5 states do not have a Lieutenant Governor, and Maine is one of those. Currently, 26 states elect a Lieutenant Governor on a ticket with the governor, while 17 states elect a Lieutenant Governor separately. West Virginia is the outlier. The President of the Senate, as elected by the state senators, serves as the state's Lieutenant Governor. Now, I'm proposing something slightly different here. I'm proposing that we elect the Lieutenant Governor independently every 4 years, like 17 states currently do. But I'm proposing that we do so in the off-year cycles of the election of the governor. Now, why would I propose such a thing? Well, to answer that, I have to get into the problems that I'm trying to resolve by creating a Lieutenant Governor. Now, generally, the Lieutenant Governor is the state's highest officer following the governor and assumes the role when the governor is out of state or incapacitated. The Lieutenant Governor also becomes the governor in most states should the governor die, resign, or be removed from office. They aid the governor in whatever ways the governor deems necessary and helpful. Why does Maine need a Lieutenant Governor? Coming into my 3rd term as a legislator and my 2nd as a committee chair, I have had multiple occasions to work with the offices of 2 separate governors. Often the legislation I propose and that is proposed in my committee involves communicating and occasionally negotiating with various departments, commissioners, and the governor's staff. Often these fine and hardworking folks are waiting for a response from the governor on whether or not administration supports, opposes, or has proposed fixes. Many bills have been worked by department staff in very good faith, only to change position when the chief executive is actually able to read and respond to the hundreds of bills that we submit. And this, I've got to be clear, is not a criticism of any individual. I receive the same last-minute responses to bills from the LePage administration as I do from the Mills administration. It just points to one of the many reasons as to why Maine and the office of the governor needs a lieutenant governor. There's just too much to do anymore for one person, even when we aren't literally trying to make decisions which save people's lives. Now, many of these decisions need the literal eyeballs, ears, physical presence, and decision-making of an elected official accountable to the people. Too many decisions, tasks, and events, in my opinion, for one person alone. I would propose that the Lieutenant Governor serve as a liaison to the legislature if it were totally up to me, but obviously that would be decided in coordination with the sitting chief executive. So why stagger the elections? As legislators, you might have noticed that at times things get partisan. You might have noticed that on rare occasions things get bipartisan, and sometimes things even get dispartisan, a word I created to describe when no one can seem to agree on anything. Now, I'm staggering these elections to present the real possibility that the governor and lieutenant governor could be elected from 2 different parties. In my opinion, that might be a good thing. If both parties felt they had a voice in state government, I support that. If both offices ended up coming from the same party, I support that. What I'm hoping is that we offer the people of Maine a choice every 2 years to have their voice heard and to see themselves represented. Now, why else would I stagger the elections? I feel like it could be important to sustaining institutional memory. As all of us are keenly aware, Maine has term limits. When governors change, everything starts anew. But a lieutenant governor would have the institutional memory to serve as a bridge between administrations. Even if, as in many states, the elected lieutenant governor ran for governor and won, they would have a keen understanding of the processes in place, the initiatives moving forward, and the people on the ground. I like efficiency, and this would provide a sense of predictability and knowledge for Maine's office of the governor. So what does the bill actually do? It's the simplest thing in the world. If successful in the legislature, LD 442 sends a question out to the Maine people, which would read, do you favor amending the Constitution of Maine to create the office of Lieutenant Governor to assist the governor in the performance of the governor's duties? In the end, the people would decide. And that is what I always try to land on. So I'm very thankful for your attention and for hearing this bill. I'm thankful for you waiting for me, and I would be very happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Representative Sylvester. Does anyone have questions for Representative Sylvester on his bill? Representative Reisman first.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Representative, thanks for your testimony. I'm wondering, looking at the body of the text, it talks about voting to elect the lieutenant governor. So it calls for a plurality of all votes returned. Why wouldn't you structure this, assuming that we go that direction, to correlate with ranked choice voting?
Believe me, Representative Reisman, I gave it an enormous amount of thought. And in the end, what I decided was that that if the committee wanted to do that, they would have the ability to do that. But I thought that it was cleaner to follow the statute as it is right now. And since we haven't been able to get over that hurdle in the governor's position, it was important to me that there was continuity in terms of how the two positions were elected. And so I would be very open to that friendly amendment if the committee and its wisdom felt like that's where the direction it wanted to go. But I felt like for the presentation of this bill, it was important to start at the same spot.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Copeland?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Representative Sylvester. I apologize. Since it's creating a new position, I would think that it would have a fiscal note, but I don't see any notations here. Are you aware of any?
I'm sure it is coming. Yes, I would assume that this person would expect to be paid a salary. And if you have suggestions on that, I'd be happy to hear it. But I try to let, I guess in my first term, I tried to, help everybody else do their job. And now in my third term, I try to let the folks who I know are much smarter than me do their job. And I'm assuming that they're going to come out with a fiscal note.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Representative Dorr.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Nice to see you, Michael Sylvester, Representative Sylvester.
Representative Dorr, it is such a pleasure to see you.
And I love your flag. I have one, but I've yet to get it up anywhere. So right now, if something were to happen, and I would never wish that on her, Maine's governor, it would be the president of the Senate that would step into that position. Is
Not
that
a constitutional scholar, but that's the way I read it, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Representative Copeland, is your hand still just up? Okay. A quick question about, you were talking about continuity of office. By staggering the terms, if you have somebody who is lieutenant governor, one would think that eventually that person might like to become governor. Doesn't that mean that you would be voting for governor and lieutenant governor at the same time? If somebody is term limited out as governor, the lieutenant governor wants to step up, therefore you need to have an election for a lieutenant governor also? Does that make it more cumbersome by staggering the terms?
It might, having two elections at the same time, I would assume it would be a special election that would finish out the 2-year term of the existing lieutenant governor. And so, as it would be if any of us retired in the middle of our term. And so I assume that's, I thought about that in terms of, but it seemed clear to me that there was law about what to happen if an office vacated and hold a special election. So that's what I'm assuming the process would be, but I'm sure your analyst will correct me if I'm mistaken in that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Are there other questions from the committee? Do we have anybody speaking either? Do we have any co-sponsors? Do we have folks speaking for, against, or neither for nor against? Cheryl?
No.
No?
Nope.
Nobody waiting?
Nope.
Well, thank you very much, Representative Sylvester, for your time, and I appreciate you coming by.
I appreciate it as well. And I'll just say thank you again to the committee for hearing this. And I purposefully did not flood the room with folks today because I wanted, I felt like this is a decision that the committee should take without thinking about it in a partisan fashion. And so I didn't want to bring up all of that piece. I felt like I could bring the idea forward, and this committee has a long history of being fair and bipartisan. So I wanted to keep things that way. So I appreciate you hearing my bill today.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
So we'll close that public hearing on LD 442, and we'll move to our next public hearing, which is LD 721 from our own Representative Toole. Welcome, Representative Toole. I'll let you introduce yourself and then introduce your bill.
Well, good morning, Representative Matlack, and apologize for being late this morning. There's been a lot going on in more ways than one, so I do apologize for being late. And with that, I'm Will Toole. I can do my introduction and my testimony, so we jump right at it. That's all right.
Perfect.
Representative Matlack, distinguished colleagues of the State and Local Government Committee. My name is Will Toole. I represent the communities of Cutler, East Machias, Eastport, Lubec, Machias, Machiasport, Rook Bluff, Whiting, and Truscott Township in the 130th Legislature. Here today to present LD 721, an act to increase transparency in certain expenditures of the governor. This bill requires that the chief executive report all expenses of $250 or greater from their $30,000 annual expense account. It requires that those expenses be reported to the same folks that we all report our annual sources of income and campaign expenditures to, the Ethics Commission. I first learned of this issue last year during a State and Local Government Committee meeting, where compensation of various state officials was being discussed with the State Compensation Commission. At that time, I was shocked that there was no such requirement for reporting, much less auditing, of such a pool of money that's controlled by one person. When I asked Senator Angus King's former chief of staff, Kay Rand, who served on the Compensation Commission about this, she stated that Governor King, Senator King, used these funds to help reimburse security during his tenure as governor. She answered that she did not know how other chief executives used the money or what they used it for. I'm not suggesting any chief executive, current or former, is doing anything unethical and nefarious with these funds. If I had concerns there, I would have written a provision that funds be audited annually and requested an investigation on part of government oversight or somebody else. Still, I believe reporting these expenses through the Ethics Commission is a matter of transparency, a matter of public accessibility, and a check and a balance that Maine needs. I don't think people care whether the current chief executive buys a cup of coffee and a piece of pie at Helen's Restaurant in Machias, or if the former chief executive has had a suit cleaned at the local dry cleaner. But I do think larger expenses such as hotel stays, security, clothing, and such are things that people have a right to know about, regardless of who is in office. So I think it's time we at least require basic reporting of expenses of 250 or greater, and require that those reports be submitted on an annual basis. The bill itself is not clear on when that requiring should start. I believe it should start with the beginning of the next gubernatorial term if the current chief executive wins re-election, or a year later if a new chief executive takes office. I believe it should start next year if the current chief executive wins re-election, and a year later if a new chief executive takes office. It's the only fair way we can do this. Some have asked why the ethics commission. I would argue that because they already are geared up to accept annual sources of income reports and routinely track campaign expenses for hundreds of candidates annually, that they would be a logical fit, and that adding in one more report for one more person ought to be able to be done within existing resources. Others have suggested we expand this to legislators' constituent services money. I don't have a problem with that, as I have been advised by my accountant to keep track of how that money is spent in order that I might properly file my taxes on an annual basis. So reporting expenses of 250 or more on a couple of $1,000 constituent services stipend would not be a major imposition from my point of view. I also realize that rules may have to be developed and would be willing to support an amendment directing ethics to present major substantive rules to this committee next year if folks are interested in going that direction. In closing, I want to thank you for hearing this proposal and my half a dozen others this season, and expect a lively discussion when the time comes for us to deliberate on it. Thank you all.
Thank you, Representative Toole. Does anyone have any questions for Representative Toole on his bill? Not at present? All right. So do we have, who do we have as co-sponsors or those in favor?
Those are nobody.
Okay, so I see Commissioner Figueroa is here.
She's against it.
She's against? Commissioner Figueroa, would you like to join us and present your testimony?
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Senator Baldacci, Representative Matlack, and members of the Joint Standing Committee on State and Local Government. My name is Kirsten Figueroa, and I am the Commissioner of the Department of Administrative and Financial Services. I am here today to testify in opposition to LD 721, an act to increase transparency in certain expenditures of the governor. Title II, Section 2 outlines the governor's expense account. The account has been in statute since 1954 and largely unchanged since then, with the only amendment to gender reference. Funding is part of the all other line category of the governor's office general fund account. The amount has been set at $30,000 going back to at least 2004. Although referred to as an expense account, it has been considered a taxable fringe benefit to the governor's salary, which has been set at $70,000 since 1987. As such, it doesn't make sense for expenditures to be tracked in the way this bill proposes. Reviewing these payments illustrates that they have been processed as lump sum payments going back as far as our electronic accounting records. Beginning in 2011, the funds are paid through the governor's paycheck on a quarterly basis. By moving this to a payroll system, withholdings are calculated automatically, thereby avoiding having to make manual adjustments to W-2s. This appropriation as written must be available for expenditure by the governor at the governor's discretion. This account is not subject to audit except as to the total amount to be paid. This concludes my testimony, and thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Does anyone have a question for the Commissioner? I'll pause a moment. I see Senator Baldacci has joined us. Senator, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank
We've
you,
had an
Matt.
interesting morning.
Oh, sorry, I missed. I have been going to a couple of different committees for bills, and thank you for chairing. My name is Joseph Baldacci. I'm state senator from the city of Bangor and the town of Herman for District 9. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. Going back to Commissioner Figueroa, does anyone have any questions for Commissioner Figueroa? I do. Could you explain about the taxable fringe benefit? I'm sorry, Representative Reisman. I assume that you would have a question, but
Well, you can go.
you are our
Go ahead,
financial wizard.
Well, I agree with the commissioner about the taxability of the expense account, and currently not including that expense account in the compensation. Our governor is one of the least paid positions in the country, and if you add this in, we're still probably way down on the list of compensation for the governor. And I was wondering if the commissioner had a comment on how that would look to her in terms of total compensation for the governor.
I'm sorry that I don't know specifically how our governor's salary stacks up to others. I do believe that has been a conversation, and that this may have been how this account came to. I think that is probably the meeting that Representative Toole is talking about, the compensation meeting. Yeah. But I do believe that our governor is one of the lowest paid. Maine state's governor is one of the lowest paid. I could get more information on that or give you the stats. I'm sure it's out there on the Google.
Yeah. Thank you. And any further questions, Mr. Reisman? Maybe the commissioner could have that for our work session.
Okay. I was hoping maybe our legal analyst could do a little study on that.
Okay.
And find out if other states have this kind of money available. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Senator Baldacci, did you have a question?
Yes, I just wanted to, there is a question on this. The governor before LePage used to regularly say that he was the lowest paid governor in the country. So I'm assuming that is a fact, but the fact that it's taxable income, has it always been taxable income? And I would assume that would obviate the real need to have us audited if taxes are being paid on it. So has it always been taxable income?
It has been, and the shift to processing it through payroll just made it easier and more transparent to show that, but it has always been. Yeah. And as a reminder, I mean, it is meant to be for expenditures of being a governor that might not otherwise be covered by the governor's office or the Blaine House. That was how it was established, and it was established as being available to a governor to use for that reason. And, you know, there are just some expenses that aren't going to feel like they are operational to the governor's office account or operational to the Blaine House account.
Thank you. I think that mostly answered my question, except you mentioned a $70,000 figure. Is that where the expense account is folded into the fringe benefits and it's part of the $70,000 account, or was I drifting away?
The $70,000 reference is the salary of Maine's governor, and the $30,000 is the amount of of what is referred to as the governor's expense account. And that goes back to at least 2004, where we lose a little bit of track of it because of the electronicness of records versus paper. But we were able to track it back to at least 2004 at that level.
Okay, thank you. I think the legislators have something similar. Don't we have a modest stipend that we're given annually for constituent services? And that is also not monitored. That is something that we is for use at our discretion. And so I believe that would be something similar to what we're talking about for the governor. Okay. Anybody else have questions for Commissioner Figueroa? Thank you for joining us, ma'am. I appreciate you being here again.
Thank you.
Do we have anybody else that wishes to testify on this bill, Cheryl? Okay, so that ends the testimony for LD 721. I will close the public hearing. That is the end of our public hearings. And that is also the end of our hearings this morning because we went to work session immediately at 10:30 because our bill sponsors were unable to be here till a little bit later. So we are now going to adjourn until 1 o'clock unless our
Is it
analyst or our clerk has notes for us.
Is it possible for me to vote now?
Oh, no, because it was a tabling motion.
Oh, okay. So that
So
was
we tabled the cemetery commission.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we need to resuscitate it at some point. So
Yep, later down the line.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so we are done with our public hearings and our work session, and we'll be back at 1 to discuss the budget. Yes? Okay. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you folks back at 1. Thank you for being here.
Cheryl, are we done?
We are. Yep. I'm keeping this up and running though, just to let you know, because I can't shut it off and put it back on at 1. So it's going to be running. We are still live, just letting you know. I cannot turn this off until we're done this afternoon.
Love you.
Good afternoon, all.
Good afternoon.
Hi, everyone again.
Hi again.
Hello again.
I have stuff falling all over the place. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Senator Rosen is having a
We need a
problem getting
senator.
on. Yeah. Senator Rosen will be on as soon as I can get her the link again to get on. So
Oh, okay.
she, for whatever reason, the link is not working. She logged off and can't get back on. So
You like me to send it to her, Representative Tool?
well, I'm gonna send it to her via Facebook because that seems
Got it.
like- What's that?
She's on.
I'm on.
Good deal.
Thank you.
I was just getting ready to send it by Facebook, so.
It wouldn't let me open it.
State Auditor, Municipal Bond Bank. I have not heard from Senator Baldacci. Does anybody, so. Well, tell you what, it is now about 1 o'clock. And if he shows up, he can carry on. But let's move ahead, shall we? I guess I should open this the way I would any old work session. We all set, Cheryl? Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Ann Matlack. I am the House Chair for the Standing Committee on State and Local Government. We have determined that there is a quorum. I will ask people here if they could please introduce themselves. I will go through my boxes. I don't necessarily have a list in front of me, so I'll go through my boxes and ask if you people can introduce yourselves, and we'll get going on our workshop this afternoon, which is our final discussion of this year's biennial budget. Representative Bryant, would you do the honors?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Mark Bryant. I represent House District 24, part of the town of Wyndham.
Thank you. Representative Downs.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Kathy Downs. I represent District 130, which is Bucksport and Orrington. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Toole.
Good morning or afternoon, Madam Chair. This is Representative Will Toole. I represent the Machias area plus Lubec and Eastport.
Thank you. Representative Reisman.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. My name is Walter Reisman. I represent District 69, which is Bridgeton, Harrison, and Denmark.
Representative Dorr.
Good afternoon. Nice to see everyone again. I am Representative Donna Dorr, and I represent House District 85, which is a portion of Augusta.
Senator Rosen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Kimberly Rosen, Senate District 8. My district consists of 17 towns and 1 city in Hancock County and Penobscot County, and I live in Bucksport.
Thank you. Representative Paulus.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Representative Sean Paulus. I represent House District 52, which is all of the city of Bath.
And Representative Copeland.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Lynn Copeland, and I am honored to represent this House District 14, which is downtown and coastal Saco. Thank you.
Oh, thank you all for being here. Again, my name is Ann Matlack. I represent House District 92, which includes the communities of Cushing, Thomaston, South Thomaston, St. George, Matinicus, Cree Haven, and the Muscle Ridge Island. We are here this afternoon with a work session, our final work session on this year's biennial budget, which we were reporting back to the Administrative and Financial Affairs Committee. We have established that there is a quorum. The purpose of this meeting is for the committee to receive information from staff. We've actually already done that. The purpose of the meeting this afternoon is for us to just formalize our recommendations to AFA on our parts of the budget. The YouTube live stream of this meeting, which is accessible to the public, begins at the scheduled start time for the work session and will remain on until the end of the day's work. If your video or audio is on, even if the committee is not then in active session or is on break, the public can see and hear you. Please remember to mute your, I do that every time, mute your microphone when you are not speaking. Please check to be sure that your name appears correctly on the Zoom screen. For example, it should read Representative Rep Smith, not iPhone 6 or mom's laptop. This is a public meeting, and I will remind you that while we are meeting, discussions must happen on screen and not by way of Zoom chat. You may use the chat to request to speak or to indicate that you are having a technical issue or to indicate that you are momentarily stepping away from the screen. However, again, you are not to use the chat feature for substantive discussions. If you're having technical difficulties, please contact our clerk, Cheryl McGowan, who will help try to resolve the issues or contact the Legislative Information Technology Office. All right, we have, I think we can move along. We have met with AFA and representatives from the different departments. We also met as a group with various departments. So I think today is just our opportunity to say whether or not we're what our changes might be to this budget or express support or not support for the different various areas. I think to make our life easier, I'll start by going through, we'll go through the departments. I'll list them out. If there are questions, we can ask, but if nobody has specific questions that have already been answered in our two other meetings, then we will move along and determine whether we support or don't support this, the individual departments. Is that okay? All right. So let's start with executive department because that's at the beginning of the alphabet. Is that, wait a second. Never mind. Let's try auditor first because that is the A. So the state auditor department, biennial budget. Lynn, were there many changes that we need to know about? Many initiatives?
Thank you, Madam Chair. You've thrown me for a loop because you went out of order, but the auditor had 5 initiatives on it and starts on page 29 and goes through page 32 of the budget packet.
Okay.
And I can share the screen if people are interested in that.
Do you want to see that, or are there any questions with regard to the auditors, the auditor department or the auditor section of this budget? Were there any concerns? Donna, yes?
I don't have any concerns, but it'd be very helpful if she could put here what she's looking at with us.
Okay.
Thanks.
If you could put it up. Perhaps I should have let you lead the way, Lynn, so that you can get everything. Yeah. So auditor, and I'll let you lead from here on. Representative Reisman.
Just a quick question. After we go through that particular section, are we going to take a vote to include that section in the budget, or are we going to wait till we get done with everything?
Nope, I think we're going to go section by section. Section by section.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Lynn, and then I'll let you go back into the appropriate order.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I hope all of you are seeing a page that says Auditor Office of the State. So there were 2 initiatives about the peer review system, which is required every 3 years. 2 initiatives that were for professional services actually was just a swap of funding. The unorganized territory, the higher payment to the Passamaquoddy tribes, and that those were all of the initiatives within the state auditor.
Okay. So were there any questions or concern about the recommended changes for the auditors department? No, seeing none. May I have a motion to accept? I believe that's what it would be, is a motion to accept.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Thank you. Representative Dorr, Representative Copeland. Any further discussion of the auditor's report? There being none, all in favor of the auditor's report as presented to us, please signify by raising your hands. Okay, hands down. All those opposed to the auditor's report, please signify by raising your hands. Cheryl, do you have a
I have,
total for us?
yeah, I have 6, 4, and 2 opposed.
6,
Cheryl,
4, and
Yes.
2 noes.
I believe that there were 3 no's. I believe Representative Toole is using the raised hand function and not the raised hand waving.
Thank you very
Okay.
much. I
That
thought
is
you had a
correct.
question.
That is correct. I was
Sorry.
unclear on how we were doing this, if it was physically raising or raising the hand function. So
Well, if we do both, I think people can see us raising our hands.
Right.
Okay. So I'll let Lynn lead from now on, because I seem to be taking us astray.
You're muted.
You muted, Lynn.
You all missed my joke. So I'm going to keep going astray. We're going to go to the executive department next, because there were no initiatives in that budget. So there's nothing to vote on the executive department. Similarly, the main municipal bond bank is part of the budget, but there are no initiatives on that section of the budget for you to vote on.
Okay. Representative Reisman, you had a question.
Yeah, sorry, could you tell me how the votes went on the first section on the auditor? There were 3 opposed
And 6-4.
and 8?
No.
4.
Six
was-
ayes, 3
Yeah.
noes.
And can we know who the noes are?
Oh, yeah.
Can I know who the noes are?
Representative Downs, Representative Toole, Senator Rosen. And the
Okay.
4s were
Thank you very much.
Representative Copeland, me, Representative Bryant, Representative Dorr, and Representative Paulus. Okay?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
All right, Lynn. I'm sorry. Representative Copeland?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a logistical question so I can follow along. Are we going to go from PDF page 1, or will you let us know where we are so we can follow along very carefully,
Oh,
please?
sorry about that. Yes.
Thank you.
yes, I will do that. Thank
And
you.
Representative Toole?
thank you, Madam Chair. The one thing I would suggest to avoid confusion going forward is if we could have Cheryl do the roll call, that might be the easiest way so that folks know who's voting what.
Okay. My apologies. We will do that.
Okay, thanks.
So the next portion of the budget actually will go back to page 1. So page 1 through page 28 of the budget is the Department of Administrative and Financial Services. There are also language parts that go along with this that you can vote on as a package or separately, but I will share there's about 10 initiatives in the Department of Administrative and Financial Services that cover through those 28 pages. It starts with the the Bureau of Human Resources. It eliminates a position in Human Resources. The next initiative is in Buildings and Grounds. That is reclassification of positions. Next, there's alignment of projected expenditures and available resources in the Property Lease Internal Services Fund. In Building and Grounds, there is an initiative related to the Office of Information Technology and the security costs associated with cameras. There is in the Bureau of General Services, the capital construction, the $2 million improvement reserve funds for 21-22 only. The next initiative is in what's called Central Administrative Services, and that's for the Workday program, the $6 million in 21-22 and the $2 million in 22-23. Then you had the Central Services budget, which had no initiatives, the debt service, which had no initiatives, and then the Financial and Personal Services, which had an initiative without costs. This is just reorganizing positions. And then Information Services, the $8 million in 2 years, each year for the state's cybersecurity program and investments, a reclassification within Information Services, reclassification of several positions within there. And then Lease Space had no initiatives. The Commissioner's Office had no initiatives. The Planning, Construction, Public Improvements had an initiative. This was the one-time funding to pay the McKinn Site Settlement Trust. That was for $11,000. Purchases had no initiatives. So that's, oh, the State Comptroller is also part of DAFs. No initiatives for the State Comptroller. No initiatives for workers' comp or the state radio. So that's, in a brief nutshell, the DAF's budget. Would you like to do that first and then go through the language initiatives, or should I do those also?
Let's do this part first, and then we can do Representative Copeland. You had a question?
Well, I'm just not sure, and you might be on the road to answering it. Initiative reference number 132, I would like to change that.
What is that?
That is the Capital Construction and Improvement Reserve Fund, where they're asking for $2 million when they really need 86 million, but 8 million would do. So I would move to make that 8 million.
Is there a second for doing that? I don't believe if the department asks for 2 million, that's what they want. So is there a second for this bill, for this change? I'm not seeing a second. So we'll leave it as it is. Okay, thank you. Okay, any other? Let's see. All right, is there any other? Are there any other questions about the financial aspects of DAF's portion of this budget? There being none, may I have a motion to approve this part of the budget?
So moved.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Sean. Any other questions with regard to this part of the budget? There being none, Cheryl, can you call the roll for the budget? Thank you.
Representative Randall Greenwood. Representative Sean Paulus.
Yes.
Representative Sean Paulus, yes. Representative Francis Head. Representative William Toole.
No.
Representative William Toole, no. Representative Ann Matlack.
Yes.
Representative Ann Matlack, yes. Representative Mark Bryant.
Yes.
Representative Mark Bryant, yes. Senator Joseph Baldacci, absent. Senator Kimberly Rosen.
No.
Senator Kimberly Rosen, no. Senator Ned Claxton, absent. Representative Donna Dorr.
Yes.
Representative Donna Dorr, yes. Representative Walter Reisman,
Oh, where'd Walter go? Okay,
oh, I don't see him in there either. Representative Kathy Downs,
No.
Representative Kathy Downs, no. Representative Lynn Copeland,
Yes.
Representative Lynn Copeland, yes. 5 yes, 3 no.
thank you. Moving along to the language parts, Lynn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So there are several language parts I will share. They are mainly related to the Department of Administrative and Financial Services. So the first one has to do, which is Part D. Would you like to, well, I'll just tell you all of them and then you can decide how to vote. This one has to do with the Maine Government Facilities Authority and allowing it to, authorizing it to issue securities in cooperation with for capital repairs and improvements. Part E is aligning the mileage reimbursement for non-bargaining unit employees to match the reimbursement given to bargaining unit employees or the federal rate, whichever is lower. Part E, that's Part E. Part I is the carrying balance of debt services, allowing the state comptroller to carry forward any remaining balances in the debt service general government facilities authority fund. K is also in DAS, the Central Administrative Applications Program, and allowing this account not to lapse and to be carried forward. Part M, also this is with the lease purchase authorization and allowing the department in cooperation with the treasurer to enter into financing agreements under certain conditions. Part O is similar, allowing the department to enter into financing agreement. This is to support the operations of the statewide radio and network system. And Part Q had several components which have to do with employee incentive programs, health insurance, group health insurance, and general fund savings. So that's continuing the volunteer employee incentive program. So those are the language portions.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions with regard to these language portions? Seeing none, shall we just vote on the whole series of language changes? May I have a motion?
Motion to move in.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thank you, Representative Paulus. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any questions with regard to these sections? There being none, Cheryl, if you could call the roll, please.
I will. Representative Randall Greenwood, absent. Representative Sean Paulus,
Yes.
Representative Francis Head, Representative absent. Representative Will Toole,
No.
Representative Mark Bryant,
Yes.
Representative Ann Matlack,
Yes.
Senator Joseph Baldacci, absent. Senator Kimberly Rosen,
No.
Senator Ned Claxton, absent. Representative Donna Dorr,
Yes.
Representative Walter Reisman,
I have to apologize. We have a power outage here in Harrison, and I missed almost the entire conversation on this.
Okay.
So can you give me a recap of what happened? And
Yeah,
okay.
let's finish the vote and then we'll recap for you.
Okay, thank you.
Representative Kathy Downs,
No.
Representative Lynn Copeland,
Yes.
Sir, I believe you missed, let's see. Yes, I believe you missed the discussion of the Department of Administrative and Financial Services, the initiatives that were had monetary value that we had discussed. Lynn can explain which pages those are. The vote you just heard was for the language parts of the DAF's budget. And that was that's the one we just voted on. Lynn, could you give him the page numbers for the DAF's part of the budget?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So the DAFs is page 1 through page, I believe it was page 28. And the committee voted 5 in favor, 3 against all of those items.
All of them? Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. And then the language parts that you just heard the vote, it's at the very end of the budget. It doesn't have a page number, but that would be page 49. And those were voted in 3 against and 5 in favor. So there are 2 votes for you.
Okay, so just to make it clear in my mind, I think I lost you guys when somebody was talking about increasing the capital expenditure part of the world for DAFs. And so what I'm hearing you say is that what ended up happening is you just went with what was in the budget. Is that right?
Yes.
So none of the discussion we had the other day came into play as far as like the workday budget for that software or capital expenditures. None of it. We just went across the board what was there. Is that
right?
Okay. So if I can put my vote in on that, then I'll get that off the table.
Certainly.
I'm going to vote no.
Okay.
And then now we're on the initiatives, and there's different parts of initiative. Not initiative, the language.
Right.
So like the party. And so what part are we on? Or are we trying to do them all at once?
We just went through all of them and voted them as a block.
Vote them as a block.
Yes.
And so that's where I'm getting in on this now. So let me try to just, and this would conclude our business?
No, we have
right?
Treasurer and Secretary of State left.
Okay. I'm gonna vote no on that block also then. Thank you.
Okay.
That brings me up to the moment, right?
Yes.
We're all set? Thank you
Yes.
very much.
Yes, you are, Representative Reisman. So we are going to move on to this Office of the Treasurer, which starts on page 46 of the budget. And let me screen share. There's only one initiative in the Treasurer, which is the Loan Guarantee Program Fund, which I believe the Treasurer spoke to the committee about. And that guarantees repayment of loans. And the initiative in both years is $250,000. And that is the only initiative for the State Treasurer.
Okay. Are there any questions? Being none. Oh, yes, Representative Bryant.
I just motion to move in.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion about this? Any discussion about this section of the budget? There being none, Cheryl, if you'd like to call the roll, please.
Representative Randall Greenwood, absent. Representative Sean Paulus.
Yes.
Representative Francis Head, absent. Representative Will Toole.
No.
Representative Mark Bryant.
Yes.
Representative Ann Matlack.
Yes.
Senator Joseph Baldacci, absent. Senator Kimberly Rosen.
No.
Senator Ned Claxton, absent. Representative Donna Dorr,
Yay.
Representative Walter Reisman,
No.
Representative Kathy Downs,
No.
Representative Lynn Copeland,
Yes.
5 yes, 4 no.
Thank you. We have one more section. Lynn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The last section is the Secretary of State. That begins on page 40. And I will screen share that. There are 6 initiatives, if I did my counting correctly, within the Secretary of State's program. The first one on the page, if I could just get to scrolling, is a reorganization. A reorganization, yep. The second one is a reduction in due to reducing out-of-state travel and training. The next one is reduction due to contracted services, workers being reduced. And then in the Bureau of Administrative Services and Corporations, there was a reorganization of a senior program analyst. There was a reclassification of a program services manager 2. That's at the bottom of the page, the $867 and $286 one. The next initiative was to provide funding for a contracted worker who takes care of coding, testing, implementation in the Bureau of Corporations, Elections, and Commissions. And I believe that is all of the initiatives under the Secretary of State's office.
Do we have any questions? Representative Tool.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Am I correct that this is the last item we'll be doing on today?
Yes.
All right, well, in that case, I want to thank the committee for moving this along today, and also want to explain that is my mic on?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, I'd also like to explain that it's really unfortunate that events have transpired in the way they have over the past few days. And this is no reflection on this committee or the work that we do as a committee. So this no vote, as unfortunate as it is a reflection of the situation the legislature is in. So I just want to explain that and explain to you all that this is not a personal thing. This is just a reflection of the situation we're in. So I thank you for that. And with that, I will be voting no, as I have with the other parts of this today. Sorry for getting a little emotional, but I think everybody's a little emotional these days. So with that, I thank you.
Thank you, sir. Do we have any other comments with regard to this budget item? There being none, Representative Bryant.
I just want to thank Representative Toole for his words. I think we all elected here. Nobody in this table can vote for us or is our constituent. So, you know, whatever he needs to do, what his representation is, that's his issue. But where I'd like to move in this section, please, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Do I have a second for that?
Second.
Thank you very much. Yes, I regret that we had worked so hard to come to agreements that it's now a time when we have to part ways. And I'm sorry about that. So Cheryl, if you could call the roll, please.
Representative Randall Greenwood, absent. Representative Sean Paulus,
Yes.
Representative Francis Head,
No.
Representative Will Toole,
No,
Representative Mark Bryant,
Yes.
Representative Ann Matlack,
Yes.
Senator Joseph Baldacci, absent. Senator Kimberly Rosen,
No.
Senator Ned Claxton, absent. Representative Donna Dorr,
Yes.
Representative Walter Reisman,
No,
Representative Kathy Downs,
No.
Representative Lynn Copeland,
Yes.
5-5.
Thank you. Is there any other business before this committee today? Thank you for being here. I know this is tough, and I'm sorry it has to be this way. This wasn't our doing, but these are our votes. I will see you folks on Monday. Thank you.
we'll see you Monday.
thank you, Madam
Thank you
Chairman.
all.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Great weekend.
Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye.